Welcome to chapter Analyzing Consumer Market Session 1. In this chapter, we will figure out the following questions. How do consumer characteristics influence buying behavior? What major psychological processes influence consumer responses to the marketing program? How do consumers make purchasing decisions? In what ways do consumers stray from a deliberative, rational decision process? Marketers must fully understand both the theory and the reality of consumer behavior. So we have to study how individuals and groups and organizations select, buy, use, and dispose of goods, services, ideas, or experiences to satisfy their needs and wants, as they are all influenced by cultural, social, and personal factors. Culture, subculture, and social class are particularly important influences on consumer buying behavior. Culture is a fundamental determinant of a person's wants and behavior. Each culture consists of smaller subcultures that provide more specific identification and socialization for their members. Subcultures include nationalities and religions, racial groups, and geographic regions. Virtually all human societies exhibit social stratification, most often in the form of social classes, relatively homogeneous and enduring divisions in a society, and hierarchically ordered and with members who share similar values, interests, and behavior. In addition to cultural factors, social factors such as reference groups, family, and social roles and statuses affect our buying behavior. A person's preference groups are all the groups that have a direct, face-to-face or indirect influence on their attitudes or behavior. Cliques are small groups whose members interact frequently. The families are most important consumer buying organization in society, and family members constitute the most influential primary reference group. We each participate in many groups, family, clubs, or organizations, and these are often an important source of information and help to define norms for behavior. We can define a person's position in each group in terms of role and status. A role consists of the activities a person is expected to perform. Each role in turn connotates status. Groups having a direct influence are called membership groups. Some of these are primary groups with whom the person interacts fairly continuously and informally, such as family, friends, neighbors, and co-workers. People also belong to secondary groups, such as religious, professional, and trade union groups, which tend to be more formal and require less continuous interaction. Aspirational groups are those a person hopes to join. Dissociative groups are those whose values or behavior an individual rejects. While reference group influence is strong, marketers must determine how to reach and influence a group's opinion leaders. An opinion leader is a person who offers informal advice or information about specific product or product category, such as which of several brands is best or how a particular product may be used. There are two families in a buyer's life. The family of orientation consists of parents and siblings. From parents, a person acquires an orientation toward religion, politics, and economics, and sense of personal ambition, self-worth, and love. A more direct influence on everyday buying behavior is a family of procreation, namely the person's spouse and children. In the United States, in a traditional husband and wife relationship, engagement in purchases has varied widely by product category. The wife has usually acted as the family's main purchasing agent, especially for food, sundries, and staple clothing items. Now, traditional purchasing roles are changing, and marketers would be wise to see both men and women as possible targets. Our taste in food, clothes, furniture, and recreation is often related to our age. Consumption is also shaped by the family life cycle and the number, age, and gender of people in the household at any point in time. In addition, psychological life cycle stages may matter. Adults experience certain passages or transformations as they go through life. Marketers try to identify the occupational groups that have above average interest in their products and services and even tailored products for certain occupational groups. Computer software companies, for example, design different products for brand managers, engineers, lawyers, and physicians. As a recent prolonged recession clearly indicated, both product and brand choice are greatly affected by economic circumstances like spendable income, level, stability, and pattern over time, savings and assets, including the percentage that is liquid, debts, borrowing power, and attitudes toward spending and saving. By personality, we mean a set of distinguishing human psychological traits that lead to relatively consistent and enduring responses to environmental stimuli, including buying behavior. We often describe personality in terms of such traits as self-confidence, dominance, autonomy, difference, sociability, defensiveness, and adaptability. Consumers often choose and use brands with a brand personality consistent with our actual self-concept, how we view ourselves, though the match may instead be based on the consumer's ideal self-concept. How we would like to view ourselves, or even on others' concept, how we think others see us. People from the same subculture, social class, and occupation may adopt quite different lifestyles. A lifestyle is a person's pattern of living in the world as expressed in activities, interests, and opinions. Marketing and environmental stimuli enter the consumer's consciousness, and a set of psychological processes combine with certain consumer characteristics to result in decision processes and purchase decisions. The marketer's task is to understand what happens in the consumer's consciousness between the arrival of the outside marketing stimuli and the ultimate purchase decisions. And 5 key psychological processes: motivation, perception, learning, emotions, and memory fundamentally influence consumer responses. The starting point for understanding consumer behavior is the stimuli response model shown in figure 6.1. A need becomes a motive when it is aroused to a sufficient level of intensity to drive us to act. Sigmund Freud assumed that the psychological forces shaping people's behavior are largely unconscious and that a person cannot fully understand his or her own motivations. Abraham Maslow sought to explain why people are driven by particular needs at particular times. His answer is that human needs are arranged in a hierarchy from most to least processing, from psychological needs to safety needs, social needs, and extreme needs, and self-actualization needs. See figure 6.2. People will try to satisfy their most important need first and then move to the next. Frederick Herzberg developed a two-factor theory that distinguishes dissatisfier and in factors that cause dissatisfaction from unsatisfiers, factors that cause satisfaction. The absence of dissatisfaction is not enough to motivate a purchase. Satisfiers must be present. For example, a computer that does not come with a warranty is a dissatisfier. Yet the presence of a product warranty does not act as a satisfier or motivator of a purchase because it is not a source of an intrinsic satisfaction, and ease of use is a satisfier. In Maslow's theory, people will try to satisfy their most important need first and move to the next. For example, a starving man need 1 will not take an interest in the latest happening in the artwork. Need 5, not in the way he is viewed by others. Need 3 or 4, nor even in whether he is breathing clean air. Need 2, but when he has enough food or water, the next most important need will become salient. A motivated person is ready to act. How is he influenced by his or her perception of the situation? In marketing, perceptions are more important than reality because they affect consumers' actual behavior. We screen most stimuli out, a process called selective attention. Selective attention means that marketers must work hard to attract consumers' notice. People are likely to notice stimuli that relate to a current need. People are more likely to notice stimuli they anticipate. People are more likely to notice stimuli whose deviations are large in relationship to the normal size of the stimuli. Selective distortion is a tendency to interpret information in a way that fits our preconceptions. Consumers will often distort the information to be consistent with prior brand and product beliefs and expectations. Selective distortion can work to the advantage of marketers with strong brands when consumers distort neutral or ambiguous brand information to make it more positive. In other words, coffee may seem to taste better, a car may seem to drive more smoothly, and the wait in the bank line may seem shorter depending on the brand. Most of us don't remember how much of the information to which we are exposed, but we do retain information that supports our attitudes and beliefs. Because of selective retention, we are likely to remember good points about a product we like and forget good points about competing products. Subliminal perception has long fascinated amateur marketers who argue that marketing does embed covert subliminal messages in ads or packaging. Consumers are not consciously aware of them, yet they affect behavior. Most human behavior is learned, though much learning is incidental. Learning theorists believe learning is produced through the interplay of drives, stimuli, cues, responses, and reinforcement. A drive is a strong internal stimulus impelling action. Cues are minor stimuli that determine when or where and how a person responds. A new company can enter the market by appealing to the same drives competitors use and providing similar cues because buyers are more likely to transfer loyalty to similar brands, a generalization, or the company might design its brand to appeal to a different set of drives and offer strong cue and inducements to switch discrimination. Marketers are increasingly recognizing the power of emotional appeals, especially if these are rooted in some functional or rational aspects of the brand. An emotion-filled brand story has been shown to trigger people's desire to pass along things they hear about brands through either word of mouth or online sharing. Firms are giving their communications a stronger human appeal to engage consumers in their brand stories. That's for today's session. Next time, we will continue to analyze consumers. Thank you.